A few months ago, I finally decided that I was done externalizing my power, authority, all of that. I was so exhausted by being so bothered by everything. Everything in my environment had to be just so... I thought I was keeping it together, but I was just literally just keeping it together. I had like zero trust in my ability to respond in the moment. I was doing so much work in so many different ways, taking notes and directions from so many various esoteric and psychological systems. But therein lied part of the problem, is that it was still some external thing. And I understood in many ways that I had this like sort of fire on the outside, water on the inside, and I was sort of actively working to invert that, where I wasn't so sensitive to the outside. Like, I knew that I could persevere. It's that whole inner strength thing again. Like, I could grin and bear the pain, but could I relax into and be unbothered by it? And of course, part of exploring all of this, when you're unbothered, how do you then move? Because I was so used to the impetus for movement being bothered by something, but it was draining me, and I could see that it was draining everybody around me too. I remember being in a tiny little shop a couple years ago at the Ren Fair, and somebody was trying to get by or was shopping as well, and I was kind of tried to scooch into the corner, felt awkward because there was nowhere to go. It was a small shop, and she was so unbothered. She was like, we're all here shopping. Nobody's in a rush. It's fine. You don't have to scooch out of the way. I'll go see the hats when you're done. Like, take your time. And then 4th of July weekend this year, it's October now, I tripped and sprained my ankle really badly. And I was down. Like, I could put weight on it for a couple of weeks. And that's when I ended up taking a couple of days off from work and taking a 4-day sort of like alone time weekend. My kids and my husband knew that that's it. I needed some darkness time. And I went under. I thought about maybe doing some sort of a pre-planned ritual. I had just recently, prior to that, finished reading The Journey to the Dark Goddess, which is like a story about the descent of Inanna and then her ascent back up. But a structured ritual, that's too mundane for me. It didn't match the energy of surrender that I needed to get into this space. I needed to change a paradigm, a major paradigm in my head. And so I entered that 4 days with the full intention that I was going to come out of it, and I wasn't going to be beholden to the external world anymore. Like, this sort of like live wire sensitivity I had to the external world I would be in control of it. I mean, I did go through a lot that particular weekend, but it's just been an ongoing unfolding and blooming, and finding myself and feeling more comfortable and loving myself since then. But it was the start that I needed. But the surprising part was that it was finding myself in the nothing. It started out as not externalizing my power, but it ended up being finding myself in the nothing. There's a certain point in one of the meditations where I saw myself go down and start to get buried, which is a great fear of mine. And I saw that happening, and I was trying to stay present, and I thought, oh no, and I went to go back into the body that I saw getting buried. And then another part of me sort of like reminded me to say, well, wait a minute, you're here. You're up here. You're seeing it, which means you're not there anymore. You're here. Why are you trying to go there? There were many threads that came out of that particular moment, but a core theme that came out of that pretty much shaped the rest of everything afterwards was the finding myself in the nothing. And of course, if I was trying to remove myself from any sort of externalization of anything, I had to find out what was me, what were the layers on top of me that wasn't me. Where do I automatically become one with whatever's around me? And it was wild and it was terrifying, but it was exciting because it was like a roller coaster of like continuously surviving. Of seeing that, of knowing that I am both connected and detached, and how quickly my consciousness can move. That made me feel less trapped. And I keep not telling this story because I keep having such a hard time finding the exact starting point, and it always unfolds. It keeps unfolding. So it never really feels like it's finished. So I certainly can't find the ending point. But it feels due. It feels like it's gestated long enough. So this is my first draft at trying to speak this into existence. Actually, it's my second draft. The first one I recorded and the captions wouldn't work, and then everything froze up and I lost it. But you know what I mean. If you stuck around, thanks. I hope this was something for you.